Sustainable Developmental Goals, SDGs, are a set of 17 global goals adopted by the United Nations in 2015 as part of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. These SDGs are designed to serve as a blueprint for a better and more sustainable future for all. How do they do that? By addressing some of the world's most pressing problems, economic, social, and environmental challenges, and ensuring that cities are sustainable. Hi, I'm Tej, and on today's podcast, I have an erudite young lady. She is someone with a degree in geography. She's a master's in GIS and remote sensing. She has a PhD in library and information sciences. She is currently an assistant professor at the Complutense University of Madrid and an affiliated researcher at the University of Yavle. Her areas of expertise include the fields of organizational sustainability and bibliometrics and scientometrics. It sounds all Greek and Latin to me, but welcome, Nuria.
Thank you very much, Tej. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity for being here today.
I feel I'm in stellar company today. Well, to begin with, please tell us what is meant by OSDG, what is PPMI, and what is the work that you are doing exactly?
Hmm. Yeah, so OSDG is just to put you a little bit in context. OSDG is a partnership between Public Policy and Management Institute, which is a Lithuanian research and policy institute, and also United Nations Development Program SDGA Lab, which is also based in Istanbul and also provides research and advisory support under the umbrella of United Nations and also a growing community of researchers. So basically, we start with the OSDG. What is exactly OSDG? What our purpose, our aim was to increase the awareness towards the goals. For example, that as citizens could be more aware of what is exactly the SDGs, what are the different goals, how they could contribute somehow to the SDGs. So we realized that there was a problem that, for example, many institutions does not know how they could know what is their contributions towards the goals. Or, for example, a citizen, how is your own contributions towards the goals? So in a first step, we designed what we call OSDG, and it's basically a super easy tool that allows to classify a text or a PDF into the different SDGs. And for example, imagine that you are a master student and you have your master thesis, and do you want to know what is the contribution of your thesis towards the goals? So you could upload the file, and the tool also give you as a result the SDGs that are aligned to your thesis. But we realized that that was not enough, because okay, we have this tool, we have this amazing tool, we have many people that were using it, but we wanted to know also the perspective of the citizens. So in this regard, we decided to launch a citizen science initiative to also to have more people on board, because one of the main problems that we have with the sustainable goals is there are a policy language. And when you read the SDGs, when you read the target, when you read the indicators, you really don't know how you as an individual could contribute to these goals. And also there are different understandings. Me as a geographer, I have different perception of what is exactly an SDG if we compare to some other people that maybe have different background, and also it depends on the country. So we wanted to know the different understandings of the SDGs. So that's why we launched this initiative.
Oh, that is very interesting. The contribution of research in understanding sustainable development. Wonderful. What inspired you to start this work on understanding the different aspects?
Yeah, so basically it all started in a very informal way. We contact with PPMI in a conference, and we had the same interest. We wanted to also to analyze more the SDGs. The SDGs is a line that I also was doing during the PhD, and also PPMI was working with the SDGs, and also at the same time we know the people from UNDP SDGA lab that was also working with artificial intelligence SDGs. So we all had a common interest, and we decided to have this initiative all together. I also have to stress that there is no funding behind, so we are doing it in our spare time. And also it's very rewarding for us to have, for example, all these people involved. We have more than 2,000 volunteers all over the world for I think it's 150 countries, which it's something that we are very very proud of. So we had the same interest.
Well, you should be. It is not an easy task. To be honest, I'm taking quite an effort to understand what exactly you are saying. So I would assume that everybody around the world who are into research and masters and studying all these are, of course, very intellectual people. So, how are you conducting your research? How are you going about it? Is there any particular system that you're following, or is it something that is, opinionated and decided upon?
Yeah. So basically, the exercise, for example, the citizen science exercise, it all started during the pandemics. So with PPMI and UNDP's DGA lab, we created a platform, so a website, very with an easy exercise. So basically, all the volunteers that sign into this platform, they receive a training before doing the exercise. And then the exercise was a labeling exercise, and basically they see a text in the platform, and we asked, do you think this text, for example, is related to the SDG 2? And according to their expertise, their professional background, they have to answer if they think it's related or not. So basically, with all this information, all the project, one other aspect is all is publicly available. So, for example,
Hmm.
all the data that we have, all the data from the volunteers, the text that they have been labeling, is publicly available. So anyone interested could check it. And what helps us is to determine what, for example, are the concerns of the citizens. For example, we know that there is more agreement in some SDGs when it comes to topics such as health, or which is SDG 3, or life on land, SDG 15. They agree more. So they agree volunteers from different countries. However, there are some other topics, like, for example, zero hunger, which is SDG 2, or reduce inequalities, SDG 10, or responsible consumption and production, which is SDG 12. There is more disagreement between the volunteers. So one specific text is seen completely different from people from different countries, from different contexts. So it allows somehow to determine in which topics in each one of the SDGs that there is more concern. And that is useful because, as I said, the SDGs are a policy language, and it's really difficult to translate into our daily lives.
Wow. Let's take a break to understand what Chizuba is. Everyone at some point ponders on how this beautiful life can be made more meaningful. Maybe you're a leader trying to enhance your employees' experience at your organization. Or you already work for the community and seek volunteers with state of the art skills to strengthen your nonprofit. Whatever your situation, know that you can make a difference. Chizuba began with this very vision, a vision to facilitate every skill and every passion in the world in meeting a social need. Corporate volunteering has several benefits for both businesses and organizations. In parallel, experienced and enthusiastic volunteers join NGO workers, enabling them to serve the community more effectively. Chizuba offers everyone looking to add purpose and meaning to their lives a chance to connect or volunteer virtually with nonprofit organizations from over 100 countries around the world. Visit www.chizuba.net and explore opportunities to find meaning. Chizuba, your platform to do good. And now, back with our guest. Yeah, so my question to you is, when you are doing all of this, isn't AI an important part of it?
Yes, yes, because when at the first part, Well, we use machine learning approaches. So basically, for example, the tool is based on a set of ontologies. From the research perspective, there has been different attempts to classify for example, publications, texts into the different SDGs. There is a lot of controversy because, for example, if a text is related to health, does not mean that is a link that is aligned with the SDGs. Because, for example, there are topics that are really controversial. Nuclear energy, of course, nuclear energy, for depending who could be a contribution towards the goals, but for some other people could be not. And basically, the tool is using machine learning approaches and basically is based on a set of ontologies that are behind the tool. And also, this exercise, the OSDG community data set, and this volunteer exercise helps to also to improve the performance of the tool.
Oh, okay. All right. Nuria, do you also take into account the perspectives of, say, the marginalized communities, those groups that are you making sure that they are represented in your research?
Yeah, the point is this is something that we are working because, for example, in a first round of the this launch of the OSDG, what we found is that there were more people represented from Western countries, and we
Yes.
wanted to have a broad representation. So we for example try to find other dissemination channels to also to reach these other people. But this is something that, to be honest, we are working because the higher representation the better. And we are this is one of our biggest challenge to also to get as much people involved, and also that this could be representative as much as possible. It's not easy because in citizen science, as it's a volunteer exercise, the people that we are having on board is people that are really interested in the SDGs. And
True.
finding people that is not looking for citizen science projects or is not interested in sustainability, it's hard to reach them. But this is something that we are working. For example,
You're
we are
trying.
we are having different open seminars. We try to have more people on board to explain the SDGs in a very informal manner, and also to have more people. And also, as a citizen science that we don't have any funding behind, we also want to reward these people that are volunteering in OSDG community platform. So for volunteering them, for example, we give them a certificate from the United Nations as a volunteer. And
That
also,
carries weight.
thanks to that, yeah, thanks to that, they are participating. We have seen that they are participating more and more over time.
Oh, that's lovely. A very nice way of conducting that part of the research. And what is your goal eventually? Of course, you plan to use your research to create more awareness, definitely. But what is the ultimate goal?
Yeah, the ultimate goal would be that all this information that we are collecting from this bottom up perspective, so more on these public understandings of the citizens and their vision, could be useful, for example, for policymakers, for researchers to know how the public perceive the SDGs. Where are the gaps? Which, for example, SDGs are less known, and also this could be useful, for example, to have campaigns in awareness campaigns in some specific topics. Or also at the country level, there are different ways in which the citizens could participate. So, for example, in consultation or many other aspects. So, yeah, that somehow this information would be useful for researchers, policymakers to do something, to also to know from a very different perspective. Because usually they tend to use citizens' data for monitoring purposes. So they use as data provision for example, for the indicators. And what we want is to show a different perspective from the citizens, what they think, what is the gaps, for example, we discover that when are topics that affects their daily lives, like for example,
Mm-hmm.
working conditions, they have more agreements, so they have a common understanding. But for example, when there are topics like laws, like economic taxes, for example, there are more disagreement among the volunteers. So yeah, we would like that this information would be useful for people that are working on the SDGs.
Cool. And do you have any advice for individuals or organizations that want to contribute to a better understanding of the SDG goals?
Yeah, for example, for the different institutions, for example, we also had some use cases. So we have received some requests from some companies or some universities that they want to know how they perform in the SDGs. And we, for example, use their data to, yes, to we use the
Mm-hmm.
OSDG tool to, for example, say, okay, your institution is working in this goal, in this other, and in this other, but there is, for example, some SDGs that you are not addressing. Because, yeah, one of the main difference with the Agenda 2030, differently from the previous one, which was the Millennium Development Goals, is all goals needs to be addressed. I mean, it could not be room for what is called cherry picking. Cherry picking is, for example,
Right.
when an institution or whatever they show the performance that they are having in some specific goal because they are better in this goal than in another. And the Agenda 2030, it says no, we should address all the goals in a holistic way, and all goals needs to be addressed for having really for being into the sustainability path.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, I would say thank you for sharing that with us. I definitely would not have known about sustainable development goals and the contribution of research in that. What you are doing is something on a voluntary basis, something that nobody's paying you to do. But of course, you are interested and passionate about it, and hence this entire community is coming together.
Hmm.
That is wonderful. Nuria, thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, thanks to you, Tej.
The OSDG project is a partnership between PPMI, UNDP, SDG AI Lab, and a growing community of stakeholders. The project started with the aim to increase awareness towards the SDGs as well as to discover the different understandings towards the goals. It is a journey that has started with a tool for classifying the texts and publications and has grown as a citizen science program that has involved more than 2,000 volunteers all over the world. Increasing awareness towards the sustainable development goals is essential for achieving these goals. We need to educate people, we need to communicate effectively, we need to collaborate, engage with communities so that we can create a more sustainable and equitable world for all of us. Thank you very much, Nuria, for joining us. That's all
Thanks to
from
you,
us
Tej.
today. Goodbye.
Thanks a lot, Tej.